Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer, and on today's show we are going to be taking 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy to task a little bit. That's right, we are going to be looking at the three things Brock Purdy must improve on for the 49ers in 2023. You know, you look back at the season and you might be saying right now, Jack, you are crazy. Look at how well he played. And hey, I'm not going to argue with you. When you look at his performance, you can pretty much throw out any superlative you want, especially when you consider that in just 5 starts and a 6th game in which he played almost every start, that game against Miami, Brock Purdy played at a level high enough to be voted number 3 when it comes to the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award. So Brock Purdy definitely played at a high level in 2022, but however, there are some things that he needs to improve on. So let's get right into it. Number 1, Brock Purdy needs to improve his footwork and timing. You know, when the 49ers quarterback position has been discussed this offseason, all too often we've been hearing discussions on arm strength, and that type of thing is really being the focus. But in reality, more often than not, it's the quarterback's ability to get the ball out quickly and accurate that's going to determine how successful they are. And for Purdy, for the most part, he was pretty good at that, and he recognizes that he needs to improve in this area. Talked about that on the radio back in March. But one of the things when you look at the 49ers offense is every concept has its own timing, and there were times last year where you could just see that Purdy was off a little bit. And, you know, the part of that when it comes to the footwork and the timing, they work together, right? The footwork, you have your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4 in your progression. You hit that back foot, you're looking to 1, you bounce, you're to 2, you bounce, you're to 3, and then you're going to 4, or you're out of the pocket, whatever you have to do. So that's one of the ways that footwork and timing work together. Another one when it comes to the timing piece is just the lack of work for Brock Purdy with Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel last year. You know, they worked together a little bit during training camp, but then once they got into the regular season, that goes away as the number 2, number 3 quarterback like Brock Purdy was. So there just had not been enough reps there. So we'll see how he's able to come back, and if he's able to really get that timing in with them and get that timing down. But that footwork timing, that's number 1 for Brock Purdy. Now let's move on to number 2, and we're going to be looking at pocket movement. You know, one of the things about Brock Purdy that everybody got caught up on last year was how well he moved out of the pocket. You know, that 1.55 10-yard split, that explosiveness to be able to move quickly to get away from defenders, that really helped him at times. And it's definitely a plus in the 49ers offense to have a quarterback that can get away from the pass rush, something that they didn't have when you had Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. So that was definitely a good piece, but along with it came some bad habits. And one of the bad habits that we saw from Brock Purdy last year was as it went along, he stopped stepping up in the pocket. More often than not, when pressure would come at him, he'd start to drop out the back of the pocket and bail out to his left. And that's something that he really needs to focus on improving as we get into year 2 here, is that pocket mobility. Again, it's good that he has the ability to get out and move when he needs to, but there's times when he needs to have patience, sit within the pocket and make the play. And that really goes along with number 3, which is playing within the structure of the offense. You know, Purdy himself mentioned this when he talked to us back during OTAs, is when he first got onto the field against Miami and Tampa Bay, he's just playing. He's just out there playing. He's doing what Coach Kyle Shanahan and Brian Greasy had told him to do, and just kind of sitting within it and playing within the structure of the offense. And as he was playing within the structure of the offense, things worked out tremendously. But then what happened was he started to get more comfortable, and as Purdy began to get more comfortable in the offense, you saw him start to freelance more often. And once he started freelancing, you saw him start to miss some plays. And you know, one of the things for me, I go back to the game against Seattle in the playoffs, and it's in the first half, late in the first half, and there was back-to-back plays where Purdy draws back. If he just steps up into the pocket and goes deep down the middle, he has receivers open for touchdowns. Instead, he gets a little bit of pressure there, and he bails too quickly, and he does the same thing I was talking about a minute ago, where he bails out the back of the pocket and scrambles to his left. Now nobody's open, so it ends up with back-to-back passes being thrown away for incompletions. And instead of getting a touchdown possibly there, they end up with a field goal. So, you know, playing within that structure, doing what Kyle Shanahan and Brian Greasy have taught, that's going to go a long ways. And there's been some talk around this as well that, you know, Brock Purdy didn't really play all that great last year. It was all about the scheming of Kyle Shanahan. And yeah, that's absolutely 100% correct. And I think that really goes along with almost any quarterback in the NFL. You know, you play within the scheme of the offense, you make those plays. Every once in a while, a play is going to break down. And then that's when it becomes your job to go do it. But I would say even the guy like Patrick Mahomes, probably about 90 to 95% of the plays that he makes are within the structure of Andy Reid's offense. The ones that everybody remembers are the highlight plays when those plays break down and he goes out and makes a big play. You know, for a guy like Brock Purdy, that would be the Seattle game later on when he rolls out to his left and there's nothing there. And he runs back to the other side and he throws that ball to Brandon Ayuk that Ayuk drops in the back of the end zone. That's one example of a play outside of structure where he's trying to stick with what's going on, but he makes a really nice play. Or, hey, go back to the game against Dallas. A lot of people like to talk about that Dallas game as not being a good one for Purdy. I disagree with that. But what I would say is that play where he's rolling out to his left, it's a big throw to George Kittle down the middle. It gets him across midfield when they're, had been backed up. That was a part of a 91-yard drive that actually gave the 49ers a lead in that game. So, again, he needs to play within the structure of the offense. The more he does that, the better the 49ers offense is going to be, the better Brock Purdy's performance is going to be. And I think the more likelihood that the 49ers can find themselves in the Super Bowl here in 2023. In fact, I would say this, if Brock Purdy can improve his footwork, if he can improve his movement in the pocket and be better there, and if he can play better within the structure of Kyle Shanahan's offense, and he stays healthy, he actually has an opportunity to probably be in the talk for the NFL MVP award at the end of the 2023 season. Take it for what it's worth. Hey, I'd love to hear from you too. So if you have questions, if you have something on this that you want to tell me that what you think as far as what Brock Purdy needs to improve on, if you think that everything I said is spot on, whatever it is, let me hear it. Also, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and also turn on your notifications because you don't want to miss any updates, especially with training camp right around the corner. Don't miss those updates right here on Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be talking with you soon.